Captain Natasha Korikov stood at the viewport of humanity's most advanced warship, watching Earth's blue marble slowly rotate below. The experimental vessel SS Harbinger represented the pinnacle of human military technology, and now it might be humanity's last hope. Captain, we're detecting multiple quantum signatures at the edge of the solar system, Lieutenant James O'Neill reported from his sensor station, his Irish accent thickening with tension. The pattern matches the anomalies we've been tracking for the past week. Natasha turned from the viewport, her scarred face reflecting in the polished deck. 15 years of military service had earned her command of this revolutionary ship, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. Show me. The main holographic display activated, revealing a cascade of energy signatures emerging from what appeared to be artificial wormholes. Each signature represented a vessel larger than anything humanity had ever constructed. I count 37 capital ships, Combat Systems Officer Derek Zhang announced, his fingers dancing across his console. Their energy readings are off the charts. This is an exploration fleet. It's an invasion force. Give me Admiral Kinzo, Natasha ordered, settling into her command chair. Within moments, the weathered face of Earth Defense Command's highest-ranking officer appeared on screen. I assume you're seeing this, Captain? Admiral Kinzo asked, his Japanese features tight with concern. Yes, sir. First contact protocols. Already attempted. We've broadcast greetings on all frequencies in every known language. Their response was to accelerate toward Earth and raise their shields. Natasha's tactical mind raced through the implications. The Harbinger was supposed to be revealed next month as humanity's first true deep space vessel. Instead, it might become their last line of defense. Your orders, sir? Admiral Kinzo's expression hardened. The Security Council is still debating, but I'm activating Emergency Protocol 7. The Harbinger is now designated as humanity's survival insurance. If Earth falls, you ensure our species continues. Sir, with respect, the Harbinger's quantum drive and stealth systems make it the only ship we have that might stand a chance against their technology. We can't just run. Who said anything about running, Captain? A ghost of a smile crossed the Admiral's face. Protocol 7 authorizes you to engage the enemy through any means necessary to ensure Earth's survival. Just don't get yourself killed in the first 5 minutes. The transmission ended, leaving Natasha with the weight of humanity's survival on her shoulders. She turned to her senior staff, studying each face in turn. Chief Engineer Marcus Ogunwe, his dark skin gleaming with perspiration as he monitored the experimental quantum drive. Dr. Raj Patel, the brilliant but eccentric AI specialist whose creation Arya gave the Harbinger capabilities beyond any other ship. Political Officer Yuki Tanaka, whose psychological insight would be crucial in understanding their adversaries. And Lieutenant Rosa Mendez, their xenolinguistics expert, already working to decrypt the aliens' communications. Orders, Captain? Zhang asked, breaking the tension. Natasha stood, her voice carrying the authority of command. We're not running, and we're not dying today. Lieutenant O'Neill, plot a course to intercept their fleet at Jupiter's orbit. Mr. Ogunwe, I want full power to the quantum drive and stealth systems. Dr. Patel, have Arya analyze every byte of data we can gather about their ships. Officer Zhang, prepare all weapons, but do not arm them yet. She paused, making eye contact with each crew member. We're about to attempt something never before done in human history, guerrilla warfare in space. One ship against an armada. But the Harbinger was built for this, and so was this crew. The bridge crew snapped to action, their training taking over despite the unprecedented situation. As the Harbinger broke orbit, its revolutionary quantum drive humming to life, Natasha felt a familiar calm settle over her. This was what she was born for. Captain, Rosa called out, I'm picking up fragmentary translations of their internal communications. They're calling themselves the Consortium, and this is strange. They're referring to Earth as the infection point. The infection point? Yuki frowned. That suggests they see us as some kind of disease to be contained. This isn't just an invasion, it's quarantine. Then they're about to learn that this infection fights back, Natasha replied grimly. Mr. O'Neill, Take us in. Time to show them why they should have tried talking first. The Harbinger accelerated toward Jupiter, its quantum stealth systems making it virtually invisible to conventional sensors. As they approached the massive alien fleet, Natasha studied their formation. The ships moved with precision, clearly experienced in space combat. But experience could breed complacency, and the Harbinger was about to introduce chaos into their perfectly ordered universe. All hands, Natasha announced shipwide. This is the captain. In about 6 hours, we're going to engage an alien fleet with technology far beyond our own. The odds are impossible, the stakes are absolute, and failure means the end of our species. She smiled. Fortunately, impossible odds are a human specialty. Battle stations. As her crew prepared for humanity's first interstellar war, Natasha Korikov made a silent promise to the distant blue marble they'd left behind. The Harbinger would live up to its name. It would be the Harbinger of humanity's defiance, not its extinction. The real question was, what would break first, the alien fleet's resolve, or the laws of probability? The next 6 hours would answer that question, one way or another. Chief Engineer Marcus Ogunwe's hands flew across the quantum drive controls as klaxons blared throughout the Harbinger. Containment at 92% and holding. He shouted over the alarm. One more hit like that, and we'll lose stealth capability. The massive ship shuddered as another energy beam from the consortium fleet sliced through the space where they had been seconds before. The Harbinger's quantum displacement drive allowed it to shift position faster than conventional engines, but each jump put immense strain on the experimental systems. Status of targeting solution? Captain Korikov demanded from her command chair, gripping the armrests as the ship performed another emergency maneuver. Arya has identified a vulnerability in their shield matrix, Dr. Raj Patel reported, his fingers dancing across his console as he worked with the ship's AI. The modulation frequency has a microscopic delay during power transitions. If we time it perfectly. Less theory, more action. Zhang interrupted as another blast rocked the ship. We're running out of space to dance. The battle had been raging for 3 hours. The Harbinger had struck first, emerging from quantum stealth to deliver a precision strike against one of the consortium's smaller vessels. The alien ship's shields had failed spectacularly, unable to cope with the Harbinger's experimental quantum torpedoes. But that single victory had come at a cost. Now the entire consortium fleet knew they were there. Mr. Ogunwe, Natasha called out. I need options. Marcus wiped sweat from his brow, his dark skin glistening under the red emergency lights. The quantum drive was his life's work, a revolutionary system that allowed the ship to exist partially out of phase with normal space-time. But it was never designed for sustained combat maneuvers. I can give you one more big jump, he replied, routing power through secondary systems. After that, we need 5 minutes to regenerate the quantum matrix or we risk a cascade failure. 5 minutes is 5 minutes too long, Natasha muttered. Then her eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical display. Unless. Lieutenant O'Neill, plot a course directly into Jupiter's radiation belt. Captain? O'Neill's fingers hesitated over his controls. The radiation will play havoc with our sensors. Exactly. And theirs. She turned to Marcus. Engineer, can you use the radiation to mask our quantum signature while the drive recharges? A slow smile spread across Marcus's face as he ran the calculations. Yes. The magnetic interference would actually help stabilize the matrix. But Captain, we'll be completely blind in there too. Not completely, Dr. Patel interjected. Arya's quantum sensors operate on different principles than conventional systems. She can maintain a limited picture of what's happening outside. That's all we need. Natasha straightened in her chair. Mr. O'Neill, execute jump on my mark. Mr. Zhang, prepare a spread of quantum torpedoes, maximum yield. Dr. Patel, have Arya calculate firing solutions for the moment we emerge. She took a deep breath. Let's show them why you don't corner a wounded animal. The Harbinger vanished in a flash of quantum energy, reappearing deep within Jupiter's churning radiation belts. The massive gas giant's intense magnetic field created a soup of charged particles that played havoc with conventional sensors and shields. Marcus threw himself into his work, coaxing every ounce of efficiency from the quantum drive's regeneration cycle. Around him, the bridge crew operated with precision born of countless drills. They had trained for every conceivable scenario, and now they were inventing new ones on the fly. Consortium fleet is splitting up, Rosa reported, monitoring the fragmented sensor readings. 3 groups of ships, searching in a standard sweep pattern. They're not entering the radiation belt. Smart, Yuki commented from her station. They're not willing to risk their ships in here. But that means they're expecting us to come out. Then we don't give them what they expect, Natasha replied. Mr. Ogunwi, status of secondary systems? Operating at 115% of rated capacity, Marcus reported proudly. I've bypassed some safety protocols. We can maintain this state for another hour before things start breaking. We won't need an hour. Natasha's voice carried the edge of someone about to do something either brilliant or suicidal. Dr. Patel, can Arya use the radiation interference to mask a series of phantom quantum signatures? Raj's eyes widened as he grasped her plan. Yes. We can create false sensor echoes that would appear like multiple ships jumping in and out of quantum stealth. But we need to modify the drive's emission pattern. Already on it, Marcus called out, his fingers flying across his console. The quantum drive's distinctive hum changed pitch as he adjusted its operating parameters. Giving you a clean signal to work with, document. Just don't fry my engines with whatever you're about to do. For the next 20 minutes, the bridge crew worked in focused silence as they prepared their counterstrike. The Harbinger drifted through Jupiter's radiation belts like a shark circling in dark waters, while Arya's quantum sensors tracked the consortium fleet's increasingly frustrated search patterns. They're getting sloppy, Zhang observed, watching the alien ship's formation growing less precise. Breaking into smaller groups, wider spacing between vessels. Fear, Yuki noted clinically. They came expecting an easy victory over primitive humans. Instead, they can't even find us to fight properly. It's damaging their unit cohesion. Time to damage more than that, Natasha said quietly. All stations, report readiness. One by one, the bridge crew confirmed their systems were ready. Marcus gave the quantum drive one final check, saying a quick prayer to whatever gods watched over mad engineers in their impossible machines. Execute attack pattern echo, Natasha ordered. Let's give them some ghosts to chase. The Harbinger's quantum drive screamed as it began generating false signatures throughout Jupiter's radiation belt. To the consortium's sensors, it would appear as if a dozen ships were suddenly jumping in and out of stealth, appearing at random points around their formation. The alien fleet's reaction was immediate and predictable. They broke formation completely, individual ships turning to chase phantom targets. Within minutes, their carefully coordinated search pattern had dissolved into chaos. Now, Natasha commanded. Full power to weapons. Show them where the real monster is. The Harbinger erupted from Jupiter's radiation belt like an avenging angel, its quantum torpedoes striking 3 separated consortium ships before they could re-establish their shields. As the alien vessels erupted in silent explosions, Marcus allowed himself a moment of fierce pride. They had bloodied the nose of a vastly superior force, using human ingenuity to turn their own assumptions against them. But as warning indicators began flashing across his engineering console, Marcus knew they had only bought themselves a temporary advantage. The real battle was just beginning, and the quantum drive couldn't take much more abuse. As the Harbinger dove back into stealth mode, running from the regrouping consortium forces, Marcus Ogunwi began planning his next impossible feat of engineering. Humanity's survival might depend on it. Political officer Yuki Tanaka stared at the decoded transmission fragments on her screen, her trained mind assembling patterns from chaos. After 16 hours of continuous combat, the Harbinger had withdrawn to the shadow of Saturn's largest moon, Titan, for emergency repairs. The brief respite gave her time to analyze the growing database of intercepted consortium communications. Dr. Patel, she called out, can Arya cross-reference these behavioral patterns against the xenopsychology database? Raj looked up from where he was fine-tuning the AI's quantum processors. Dark circles ringed his eyes, but his movements remained precise. Of course, Arya, begin analysis of Officer Tanaka's dataset. Analysis initiated. The AI responded in its distinctly feminine voice, correlating behavioral markers with known xenopsychological profiles. Interesting. I'm detecting significant emotional subtext in their communication patterns. What kind of subtext? Captain Korokov asked, approaching Yuki's station. The captain had refused to rest, catching only short naps in her command chair during quiet moments. Fear, Yuki replied, pointing to specific patterns in the data. But not of us, specifically. They're afraid of something else. Something they believe will attract if left unchecked. A massive explosion rocked the ship before anyone could respond. Multiple consortium vessels emerging from quantum space. Lieutenant O'Neill shouted. They found us. Battle stations. Natasha ordered, sprinting to her chair. Mr. Ogunwi, status of repairs? Drives at 60%. Marcus called back. We can fight or run, but not both. We fight, Natasha decided. Mr. Zhang, target their lead vessel. Dr. Patel, maximum power to Arya's countermeasure systems. The Harbinger emerged from behind Titan, its quantum torpedoes launching in a precise pattern. But this time, the consortium ships were ready. They split apart in a practiced maneuver, their energy weapons creating a web of destructive force that the human vessel barely evaded. Their tactical coordination has improved, Zhang reported grimly. They're learning our tricks. Yuki barely heard the battle around her, her attention fixed on a new pattern emerging in the data. Captain, I need Arya for something critical. It might give us an advantage. Natasha glanced at her political officer. In the midst of combat, any diversion of resources was risky, but Yuki's insights had proven valuable before. Make it quick. Dr. Patel, give her what she needs. Raj's fingers danced across his console, redirecting a portion of Arya's processing power. What are you looking for? Arya, analyze these transmission patterns for signs of internal disagreement. Focus on command structure variations and response latencies. The AI processed the request as the ship shuddered under another barrage. Analysis complete. Detecting significant command chain disruption. Multiple instances of delayed execution orders. Conclusion. The consortium fleet contains at least 3 distinct factions with differing tactical priorities. Yuki's eyes lit up. That's it. Captain, they're not a unified force. Some of their ships are actively trying to minimize damage to Earth, while others push for more aggressive action. How does that help us? Zhang demanded as he fired another spread of torpedoes. Because, Raj interrupted, his own analysis catching up with Yuki's, we can use Arya to identify which ships belong to which faction. If we target the aggressive ones while sparing the moderates, we can drive a wedge between them, Natasha finished. Mr. Zhang, reconfigure targeting priorities. Dr. Patel, have Arya flag hostile and moderate vessels on tactical display. The battle transformed as the Harbinger began executing precision strikes against specific consortium vessels while merely disabling others. The alien fleet's coordination began to break down as different ships responded to different priorities. But victory came at a cost. A lucky hit from a consortium cruiser breached the Harbinger's armor, venting one of the lower decks to space. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut, but the damage was severe. Captain, Raj called out urgently. Arya's just decoded something critical from their secure channels. The consortium, they're running from something. Something they call the Devourers. They believe Earth's quantum technology experiments will attract their attention. They're not invading us, Yuki realized. They're trying to prevent us from accidentally signaling something much worse. The infection they fear isn't humanity. It's the attention we might draw. The revelation hit the bridge crew like a physical blow. Their attackers weren't conquerors but terrified refugees, attempting to prevent what they saw as an existential threat to the galaxy. Captain, Rose's voice cut through the tension. Incoming transmission from one of the moderate vessels. They're requesting parley. Natasha stood, her expression hard. Put them through. It's time we all had an honest conversation about what's really happening here. As the communication channel opened, Yuki studied the alien commander's features on screen. Fear, yes, but also desperation. The kind of fear that drove rational beings to commit atrocities in the name of survival. The true battle wasn't going to be one with quantum torpedoes or stealth technology. It would be one with words, understanding, and the human capacity for turning enemies into allies. As Earth's designated political officer, Yuki Tanaka prepared for the most important negotiation of her life. The fate of two civilizations, and possibly the galaxy, hung on what happened next. Lieutenant Rosa Mendez stood in the Harbinger's newly established negotiation chamber, watching the holographic representatives of the moderate consortium faction shimmer into existence. The aliens called themselves the Nexar, their translucent bodies pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that her linguistics training suggested indicated anxiety. Your quantum drive technology, the Nexar representative named Valshan was saying, its patterns shifting to blues and greens. It mirrors the energy signature of the Devourer's scout vessels. When our long-range sensors detected it, you assumed we were either working with them or would accidentally summon them, Rosa finished, her translation software keeping pace with the aliens' complex harmonic language. But attacking us only forced us to use the drive more extensively in combat. Behind her, Captain Korikov and political officer Tanaka exchanged meaningful looks. The Harbinger had been engaged in delicate negotiations with the Nexar faction for 6 hours, while the more militant consortium forces, led by the warrior caste Krelat, maintained attack positions near Mars. The Krelat believe the only solution is to eliminate the threat entirely. Valshan's patterns shifted to darker hues. They have called for reinforcements carrying something they call the Sundering. Rosa felt her blood run cold as she translated the term. The way the harmonics shifted suggested a weapon of mass destruction. She relayed this to the captain with a subtle hand gesture they had developed for sensitive negotiations. How long until these reinforcements arrive? Natasha asked, her voice steady despite the implications. 48 Earth hours, Valshan replied. The Krelat are convinced your species cannot be reasoned with. They point to how one of your vessels has fought an entire fleet to a standstill as proof of your dangerous potential. In the adjacent tactical center, Combat Systems Officer Zhang was coordinating with Dr. Patel and Arya to analyze the Nexar's tactical data they had shared. The holographic display showed the approaching Krelat reinforcement fleet, 15 additional capital ships, including one massive vessel that dwarfed anything they'd seen so far. The Sundering carrier, Zhang muttered, studying the sensor readings. Arya, analysis of its energy signature? Energy output suggests a quantum-based weapon of unprecedented scale, the AI reported. Theoretical modeling indicates it could disrupt quantum fields across an entire solar system. They're going to try to cut us off from quantum space entirely, Raj realized. Not just destroy Earth, but prevent any future human civilization from developing quantum technology. Rosa turned back to the Nexar representative, her mind racing. Valshan, you said your faction opposes this action. How many others in the consortium share your view? The aliens' patterns swirled with cautious hope. Nearly half the fleet. The Nexar, the Zorii, the Quantum Shepherds. We believe destruction should be a last resort. But the Krelat hold military authority within the consortium. Then perhaps, Yuki interjected smoothly, it's time for a change in leadership. The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. While Rosa and Yuki worked with the moderate factions to build a coalition against the Krelat hardliners, the rest of the Harbinger's crew prepared for what might be their final battle. In engineering, Marcus Ogunwi made modifications to the quantum drive based on Nexar technical data, finding ways to mask its signature from the Devourers while maintaining combat effectiveness. Dr. Patel and Arya worked to integrate their quantum targeting systems with friendly consortium vessels, creating a unified defense network. The Krelat won't expect their own allies to turn against them, Zhang said during a tactical briefing. If we coordinate our first strike with the Nexar and Zorii vessels, we might be able to destroy the Sundering before it can be deployed. And if we fail? Natasha asked, looking at each of her officers in turn. Then humanity loses its quantum technology forever, Marcus replied grimly. We'd be trapped in our solar system, waiting for the devourers to find us anyway. Rosa studied the tactical display, watching the Allied consortium ships taking position around Earth. The Harbinger's desperate fight had evolved into something far more complex. A civil war within the consortium itself, with humanity's future hanging in the balance. Valshin's latest communication confirmed the Krelat are pushing for immediate deployment of the Sundering, she reported. They're convinced our alliance with the moderate factions proves humans are manipulative and must be stopped. Ironic, Yuki noted. Their fear of what we might become is pushing them to prove we were right to fight back in the first place. Captain Korkov stood, her decision made. Upload the combat coordination protocols to our allied ships. Lieutenant Mendez informed Valshin that Operation Starburst is approved. She turned to her tactical officer. Mr. Zhang, I want firing solutions for every hardliner vessel the moment they come out of quantum space. What about the Sundering carrier? Zhang asked. Natasha's expression hardened. That's the Harbinger's target. One quantum nightmare against another. She activated the ship-wide comm, all hands, battle stations. We've made new allies and identified our true enemies. In 24 hours, we're going to remind the Krelat why trying to exterminate humanity is always a mistake. As Rosa returned to coordinating with their alien allies, she felt a mix of pride and anxiety. The Harbinger had achieved what seemed impossible, turning members of the invasion fleet into allies. But the hardliners would fight even more desperately now, knowing their own people had turned against them. The real question was, could this hastily assembled alliance hold together in the face of the Krelat's ultimate weapon? The next day would provide the answer, one way or another. The massive Krelat reinforcement fleet erupted from quantum space in a cascade of purple energy, their weapons already charging. Leading them was the Sundering carrier, a behemoth of dark metal and crackling quantum fields that seemed to distort space itself around it. 15 capital ships confirmed. Lieutenant O'Neill reported from his sensor station aboard the Harbinger. The Sundering carrier is moving to deployment position near Mars orbit. Captain Natasha Korokov stood at the center of her bridge, watching the tactical display as friendly consortium vessels, marked in green, moved to predetermined positions. The Harbinger itself lurked in quantum stealth mode behind Phobos, Mars' larger moon, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. All Allied ships signal ready, Rosa Mendez announced from communications. Valshin reports the Nexar fleet is in position. The Zorii have aligned their quantum frequencies with ours. Dr. Patel, status of the integrated targeting network? Raj looked up from his station where he worked in perfect synchronization with Arya. Online and stable. Every Allied ship can see what we see, target what we target. If this works. When this works, Natasha corrected firmly. Mr. Zhang, weapon status. All quantum torpedoes armed and modified according to Nexar specifications, Zhang replied. Modified warheads should disrupt their shield harmonics on impact. We'll only get one shot at this. The bridge fell silent as they watched the Krelat fleet move into attack formation. The enemy commander's voice boomed across all frequencies, translated by their systems. Attention, traitorous elements of the consortium. Your collaboration with the humans proves the corruption we feared. The Sundering will cleanse this system of quantum technology. Surrender now, or be destroyed with them. Well, Marcus O'Gunley called from engineering. They certainly have a flair for dramatic speeches. The quantum drive is ready for what we discussed, Captain. It's never been attempted before, but the calculations check out. Natasha took a deep breath. Everything relied on timing and coordination now. One mistake would doom not just the mission, but humanity's future among the stars. All hands, she broadcast shipwide. This is the captain. Everything we've fought for comes down to the next few minutes. The Krelat want to end humanity's quantum age before it begins. Instead, we're going to show them why cooperation beats extinction every time. She nodded to Rosa. Signal our allies. Operation Starburst begins now. The battle erupted with synchronized precision. Allied consortium ships emerged from hiding positions throughout the solar system, their weapons targeting the Krelat fleet's flanking vessels. The enemy responded with furious energy barrages, but their formation was already compromised. Krelat fleet is dividing to engage multiple targets, Zhang reported. Their defensive screen around the sundering carrier is weakening on the port side. Now, Mr. Ogunwi, Natasha ordered. Maximum power to the quantum drive. The Harbinger's experimental drive activated in a way it was never designed for. Instead of moving the ship through quantum space, it created a localized field of quantum disruption, a void in the fabric of space-time itself. Quantum void stable. Marcus shouted over the straining engines. Field integrity at 82% and holding. Arya, execute targeting solution. Raj commanded. The Harbinger burst from its hiding place, the quantum void surrounding it like a bubble of absolute darkness. Enemy weapons fire bent around them, twisted by the disrupted space-time. They accelerated straight toward the sundering carrier's exposed flank. Their shields are adapting, Zhang warned. Quantum void effectiveness dropping. Calculating optimal firing solution, Arya announced calmly. Target locked. Recommend firing all quantum torpedoes simultaneously for maximum effect. Energy blast from the carrier slammed into the Harbinger's quantum void, sending shockwaves through the ship. Warning lights flashed across every console as systems redlined. Void collapse in 15 seconds. Marcus warned. Target solutions distributed to Allied vessels, Raj reported. Everyone knows their part. Natasha gripped her command chair. Fire everything. All Allied ships, execute targeting solutions now. The Harbinger's quantum torpedoes launched in perfect synchronization with dozens of Allied weapons. The coordinated strike overwhelmed the carrier's defensive systems, each impact destabilizing its shields further. Direct hits, Zhang shouted. Their primary quantum core is destabilizing. Get us out of here, Natasha ordered. Emergency quantum jump. The Harbinger vanished just as the sundering carrier's quantum core breached. The massive vessel imploded, taking 3 nearby Krelat ships with it. The remaining hardliner fleet, seeing their superweapon destroyed and surrounded by superior numbers, had no choice but to stand down. Hours later, Natasha stood in the negotiation chamber with Valshan and representatives from all consortium factions, including the defeated Krelat. The peace talks were tense but productive. The Harbinger proved that quantum technology can be modified to avoid drawing the Devourer's attention. Valshan's patterns glowed with cautious optimism. Perhaps it is time for the consortium to stop fearing innovation and start embracing it instead. The humans have demonstrated both strength and mercy, the Zorii representative added. Rare qualities that deserve cultivation, not extinction. The Krelat commander, stripped of authority but still proud, looked directly at Natasha. You could have destroyed our entire fleet. Why didn't you? Because that's the difference between your fears and our reality, she replied. Humanity doesn't want to dominate the galaxy. We want to explore it, learn from it, and yes, help protect it, even from threats like the Devourers. As the negotiations continued, Natasha's crew worked to establish new protocols for sharing quantum technology safely. The Harbinger would become a symbol not of war, but of cooperation between species. Captain, Rosa reported during a quiet moment. Earth Defense Command is requesting our status. What should I tell them? Natasha looked out at the assembled alien representatives, former enemies now turned allies thanks to human ingenuity and determination. Tell them the dawn of a new age is breaking, and humanity will not face it alone. The Harbinger's quantum drive hummed softly as Earth's first starship prepared to lead a joint human consortium mission into deep space. They had faced extinction and instead found partnership. They had fought for survival and won themselves a future. As Captain Natasha Korikov gave the order to begin their next mission, she smiled. The stars weren't just watching anymore. They were welcoming humanity home.